Caregiving can sometimes feel like an impossible struggle. Caregivers may be torn between taking care of loved ones and trying to maintain balance in life. The good news is that it doesn't have to be that way. The Caring Generation with host Pamela D. Wilson is here to focus on the conversation of caring. You're not alone. In fact, you're in exactly the right place to share stories and learn tips and resources to help you and your loved ones. So now, please welcome the host of The Caring Generation, Pamela D. Wilson.
I'm Pamela D. Wilson, caregiving expert, speaker, educator, consultant, and guardian of the Caring Generation. Thank you for joining me for this week's show, episode 231 of Year 8, Managing Caregiver Stress, Expert Advice for Elderly Care Support. Before we jump in, as always, please help the Caring Generation podcast reach more caregivers and aging adults by liking, following, and adding a positive comment about the show on your favorite podcast app. By doing this, you'll help others find practical caregiver advice, tips, and support to navigate the health, financial, legal, and family relationship dynamics related to caregiving and aging. Caregiver stress is our topic this week. It can impact caregivers and the elderly, leading to emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion. So stay with me while I share caregiver tips, advice, and coping skills to help you manage and reduce caregiver stress, which really does increase when caregivers take on multiple roles. Additionally, caregivers and older adults can learn to balance their emotional health by creating and practicing actions using coping skills to support a happier and more fulfilling life. Are you a family caregiver, filling multiple roles? Being a caregiver, it can be physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausting, especially when you're trying to be everything to everyone, and you continue to teach other people, like your elderly parents, your spouse, sometimes your children, your coworkers, to be overly dependent on you. For example, if you make dinner, you are a caregiver for nutritional needs. If you work, you care for the financial needs of your family. As a boss, you care for your employees through training and development. Friends care for each other through encouragement, support, and activity. But if you're trying to do these all at the same time and all perfectly, that is very stressful. So let's talk about coping skills. Using coping skills helps people manage stressful situations. People with excellent coping skills know how to manage stress, all the daily challenges that keep hitting us one day after another, and all of the associated anxiety. Anybody can learn coping skills, and they can address a variety of challenges like time management, prioritization, procrastination, problem solving, focus, failure, confidence, faith, overscheduling. And the one of my favorites is the I can't sit still and work down a task list, which relates to having self-control, self-discipline, willpower, sometimes motivation. Let's look at a simple example. Let's say that you are behind schedule in calling your parents' insurance company to resolve a claim. Well, what is stopping you? Why haven't you done it? What other priorities stop you from calling the insurance company besides the fact that we all know it can take hours to get to anyone who can be even remotely helpful and resolve your issue? If you're an older person, an elderly person who needs care, and you know that you need to go to the doctor appointment, what are you waiting for? Why haven't you made the call? In both of these cases, pick up the phone and make the call. Now, if you can identify the problem that is stopping you, I suspect you can probably identify a coping skill to help you, which in the case of calling the insurance company or the doctor's office may be, I'm going to sit on hold forever, or I just feel that other things are more important. So ask yourself this question: who controls your brain and your thoughts and your ability to plan and get things done? You do. You can learn coping skills to help you with whatever it is that is causing you not to get these things done. Rather than allowing caregiving stress to get the best of you, here's a technique you can use. It's called the Pomodoro technique. You sit down at your desk, you work and you focus for 25 minutes, and then your reward is you take a 5-minute break. So if you're that person who says, "Oh, I have so much to do," then your lack of getting things done might result from you saying yes too often, instead of setting a boundary and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I can't add one more thing to my list," or "I understand you'd like that done. These were the things I was going to do today. Which would you like to prioritize? Would you like me to take one thing off my list today and prioritize this, or can this be done another day?" And if you are an older adult who lacks confidence because you've come to rely on other people too much, like your caregiver, start doing things for yourself. Do that thing or several things that you usually rely on someone else to do for you. When you accomplish them, oh my gosh, you will be surprised at how amazing you feel. The next coping skill to manage caregiver stress, it's not a secret. It's to make a list of everything that you believe you have to do. Then take that list, rank it by time sensitivity, and more importantly, the consequences of not completing the task. For example, if this task is not completed by this date, the negative consequences will be problems that could be X, Y, and Z. Then you look at your list. How many of these items won't really make a difference if you never complete them? How many of these items are things that only you can do? Can someone else help you with the list? If so, start asking other people for help. Asking for help is a rarely used caregiver coping skill that has an amazing power to relieve caregiver role stress. When you're looking at your to-do list, use that 80-20 rule. It's also known as the Pareto principle. And focus on some coping skills: self-control, self-discipline, willpower, and motivation to get the 20% of the things on that list that will produce 80% of your results. The other 80% of the things on the list probably don't offer any or little measurable benefit. And while you may feel good at completing them because you're avoiding doing the more important things that may be a little more difficult, all you're doing really is you're spinning your wheels, or you're filling time with a task that really isn't going to have any positive effect on your life. I know a lot of us do this. It's common. It's just one of those habits that we would be better off getting under control. By learning to set boundaries for yourself and other people, you'll become more effective in checking off those important, consequential things on your task list. Caregivers often make everyone else but themselves happy. The way that you reduce that role stress is by starting to get things done that are important to you. Older adults also can reduce caregiving stress by becoming more independent and self-sufficient. Then you don't have to feel like you're waiting on other people to help you or to meet your needs, and you won't be as frustrated saying, "Oh my gosh, when are they going to come help me with this? Why can't I get help with this?" Because you'll be able to do it yourself. Now let's talk about one of the main contributors to caregiver stress. It's unexpected and out of control life situations. Am I right? I've had this happen to myself. The 25 years that I have been in the caregiving realm, for much of this time, I was the owner of an in-home care agency, non-medical, and I was the owner of a care management agency and a fiduciary. So I know I was the person that got the call at midnight and 3 a.m. about emergencies, like many of you caregivers. All of those unexpected or complicated phone calls or demands, they resulted in a lot of stress. It's kind of like starting a home improvement project, right? Your do-it-yourself project. And you get started and then you discover that, wow, in addition to this one thing I planned to repair, there are 3 things or 5 other things that also have to be repaired to make this project complete. You can take that example and translate it to an older person seeing the doctor for high blood pressure, thought to be related to stress. No surprise there, right? But after examination and blood tests, not only does a person have high blood pressure, but also high blood sugar and unhealthy cholesterol and triglyceride levels. So instead of just thinking there was one thing, high blood pressure, now a person has 3 or more medical conditions to work to solve. All of this stress from being that caregiver or the person who needs care can cause the brain to work in a different way by allowing past experiences that were negative or situations that just didn't work out as expected to kind of train the brain to be solution focused and problem focused, but in a negative way, to avoid being solution focused and avoid being problem focused because the brain gets tired and it's exhausted and it's saying, I don't want to think another thought. I can't. I'm too busy. Too much is coming at me. I'm exhausted. I'm stressed out. And so then what happens is the mind, the brain, gets stuck in negative thoughts and what I call hopeless spirals of impending doom. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen? I'm worried about this. I can't sleep. I can't think. And so that thought process can be called having a negativity bias. Now, a negativity bias it's part of human nature. It places focus on fear and what's going to happen next and negative experiences, thoughts and emotions rather than hope or faith or positive emotions, because negativity has a greater impact on our minds and on caregiver stress than any positive experience. Having a negativity bias can affect the way a person thinks about relationships and problem solving and decision making and on and on and on. So, how do you know if you have a negativity bias? Ask yourself these questions. Do you focus more on criticisms or insults than compliments and positive statements? Do you dwell on unpleasant or traumatic events more than positive experiences? Are your thoughts more attracted to negative rather than positive information? Are you that person waiting for the next bad thing to happen? Versus, how much time do you spend being thankful and grateful for every day and seeing the positive things in life versus worrying, feeling anxious, or being swept away by caregiver stress and negative thinking? Because I can tell you, if the positives are not winning, you may have a negativity bias. So the question is, how do you practice and retrain your brain to eliminate a negativity bias so that you can suspend that thinking, those judgy thoughts that get you really emotionally hooked around a problem or what somebody did or what happened rather than a solution? And here's a simple example of how to do that. If you watch the news, you can have a negativity bias. And so what you can do is start retraining your brain by starting to ask questions about all of the information and the opinions that you see and hear on the news. Purposely say, I wonder if that's correct. Seek information about the opposite perspective to evaluate whether that information is presented as accurate, whether it's purposely leaving out information, or whether it's just plain misleading. Start debating all of the information you receive by considering both sides of the story. And then once you get good at this or a little practiced with this on the news, take that thought process to caregiving situations and other experiences in your life. So instead of immediately reacting, oh my gosh, negative, anger, bad, and taking information on face value, pause and ask yourself, well, what's really going on here? What motivations are involved to make me believe that this is true or false? Even more important, what questions should I be asking to get to the root of the problem and to figure out how I'm going to react and what I'm going to do? So from a personal standpoint, you can actually stop yourself every time your brain thinks a negative thought. Look at your behaviors. What serves you well, makes you happy, what causes you more problems. Every time your mind thinks a positive thought, give it a bonus. Think another positive thought and another positive thought and think, oh my gosh, I am so grateful for all the good in my life. And what will happen is soon the ups and downs of life will have less of an effect on your mind, your emotions, your physical reality, and the stress that you're experiencing. And an example of this is, so this morning, it's the day of the week that the trash goes out. And so I rolled the trash down the hill out to the curb. And as I was walking back to the house, I looked up at the sky. And it happened to be a night where there was no moon. And I live in an area that is fairly dark, so there's not a lot of light pollution from the city. And I looked up and oh my gosh, the stars that were up there, I swear I could see the galaxies. It was one of the most beautiful things I ever saw. And really all I was doing was taking out the trash, and I decided to just look up. Had I not looked up, I would have missed one of the most amazing things, one of the most amazing sights in the world, the stars. It's like, what a beautiful thing. And so I was grateful for that. So other things that you can do to help you manage caregiver stress and role challenges that result from all of the chaos, the challenging caregiving situations, the unexpected things you cannot control, the people who may not be helpful, may not appreciate you, is to refuse to see difficulties as impossible problems. Ask yourself, is there something I can learn from this? Am I being shown this difficulty so that I can avoid other difficulties that I might not realize would happen if I didn't take care of this one? Super important, stay connected with friends and family members who can provide support and help if you ask them. And also people who can provide different perspectives, different ways of looking at things so that you can begin looking at situations more differently. It's important for all of us to accept that life constantly changes. There are things that we just are not going to have control over. And so because of that, it's important to keep these changes and challenges in perspective and maintain a hopeful outlook. Make time to care for yourself. And most importantly, make sure that you are proactive to get things on your list done, to address situations, call that insurance company, make a doctor appointment, find ways to manage your blood pressure and your cholesterol and your triglycerides and any other health issues that you have, rather than saying, I'm too tired to deal with this, or rather than detaching and hoping that somehow something or someone will solve this problem for me. That's probably not going to happen. It's only going to result in more stress as that problem snowballs and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Caregiver stress, it can be managed by learning and using coping skills to be proactive. When you do that, you'll find that you are reacting less to unexpected events and situations because you know that you can handle them. You'll be calmer. You will think before you respond, and life will just get a little easier and less stressful. I thank you all so much for joining me on this episode 231 of the Caring Generation podcast. Please do me a favor. Take a minute right now on your podcast app, click like, follow the show, type in a positive comment, even if it's just a thank you for the show, if this episode and other episodes have been helpful for you. If you want to view the show transcript and the video that accompanies this podcast, go to my website, PamelaDWilson.com, click on the Media tab, click on the Caring Generation, scroll down to episode 231, Managing Caregiver Stress, Expert Advice for Elderly Care Support. And while you're on that page, scroll down, check out the other 230 episodes that answer questions caregivers ask. I so look forward to being with you again soon. God bless you all. Sleep well tonight. Go out and take a peek at those stars if they're out. Have a fabulous day tomorrow and enjoy each day until we are here together again.
Tune in each week for The Caring Generation with host Pamela D. Wilson. Come join the conversation and see how Pamela can provide solutions and peace of mind for everyone. Here on Pamela D. Wilson's The Caring Generation.